Let's learn how to maximize your Cardano staking rewards. Well, that is the goal for this video. We want to teach you how to choose and pick the best stake pools possible to help you maximize the compounding effect of your Cardano staking rewards and to help you significantly grow your ADA total stake. And with Cardano staking rewards around 3%, you might feel that this is not worth it, but the reality is that the opportunity is considerable if you take into account the compounding power of the Cardano stake pool, because basically the pool you choose, even with just a few slight different percentages, can make a huge difference in terms of the compounding across the years. So this is an important decision, and in this video we'll teach you exactly how to do it right. Our focus in this video will be to actually help you pick some of the best stake pools out there to maximize your staking rewards, and of course the power of compounding these rewards over years, which can be very significant if you take a look, for example, at this image that gives you a notion of the real power of compounding and how even small percentages make a huge difference for that. But of course, it's important to remind yourself that there are other ways to pick your pool, other things you could consider, but that will not be the focus on this video. However, before starting to actually teach you how to choose the best stake pool, in case you're new to Cardano or if you're not super familiar with how staking works on Cardano, it might be useful to get to know some of the characteristics of Cardano staking. Basically, staking is very important to help validate the blockchain, to help produce the blocks with the transactions we do. And as you stake your ADA in the Cardano blockchain, as you delegate your stake, you are actually supporting a certain stake pool operator to validate transactions and to mint blocks. And of course, the block producer will naturally share these rewards with you to compensate you for your delegation. And that's basically the staking rewards that are naturally dependent on the amount of stake you're delegating to these stake pool operators. A great advantage of staking ADA is that, as you can see here, it is non-custodial, which means that you stake ADA, but it actually stays in your wallet. You have total control of it. There's no unlocking period or no lockup period where you can't spend your tokens. The tokens are in your wallet. You can spend them at any time, and the rest of the tokens will still be staked, delegated, and will still earn rewards, which is really amazing. You know, this is a unique characteristic from the Cardano blockchain, one that many are trying to copy, and it's a great characteristic because it means you stand nothing to lose from staking your ADA. So if your wallet is not staked yet, it's definitely my goal for you to have it staked after the end of this video, because you actually have nothing to lose and all to gain. Another great characteristic of Cardano staking is that your rewards accumulate automatically to your principal, and you know, after you earn these rewards, you're actually considering them in the calculation of your next set of rewards, which is awesome. It means that it is possible to have that compounding effect automatically, to compound your earnings automatically across the years, which means a much larger gain if you're holding for the long run, because the longer you stake, the more that compounding effect will be noticeable. You know, so as you can see, definitely a unique and innovative staking mechanism. And if you want to learn more about it, you can definitely check the video here at the top, where we dive deeper into the consensus mechanism and the staking model of Cardano, the Ouroboros consensus. However, even though you have all these advantages, of course, different stake pools have different performance. So you do need to know how to select the best stake pool, especially if you want to maximize your earnings and if you're thinking in the long run and you want to compound all these earnings, right? Of course, as I briefly mentioned, you have many reasons to select a stake pool. For example, you can select it to support the person who's managing it. You might identify yourself with the mission of the pool, what the pool stands for. You might, for example, they might contribute to charity, or it's a way for you to support a certain group or a project on Cardano that you feel that is doing a great work and you want to support them with your delegation and help them validate the blocks on Cardano and make some money through it. Or you can even be convinced by additional incentives such as tokens for other projects that sometimes you can assess by staking into certain stake pools. And that's really good. I think people need to be supported. And if you like to support people trying to do good for Cardano, then don't forget to leave me a like and help me reach more people with this video, because I would just want people to have this information. I think it's important. And of course, naturally, you're the one that should choose what is the reason you want to focus for your delegation. But in this video, our focus will be on maximizing your ADA rewards, maximizing the compounding effect over the years. And for that, we are going to try to help you to select reliable pools that should have a good performance over the years. For that, there are certain variables we need to take into consideration, we need to look at and interpret. And for example, let's come here to Eternal, to the Eternal wallet, to choose a pool to stake so that I can show you in practice and simulate the process of how this works and what you need to take into account. Of course, this process will be different for different wallets, but you can always use something like Pool Stats and it will show you how it works and the benefits you can get, because there are, of course, these websites like Pool Stats really focused on providing these stats for stake pools. So as you can see here, you have plenty of pools here to choose in the staking part, and there's plenty of information available already here in Eternal. And the question is, what do you really need to pay attention to maximize your rewards? Well, here, for example, you have the pledge. The pledge is the simplest one, is a value that the stake pool operator locks in the pool. And while it's not obligatory, the higher the pledge, the higher the rewards paid out. So as such, picking pools with higher pledges is naturally optimal. Then you have here the return on stake, and this basically gives you an understanding of past performance of the pool. You can actually see the returns for the past year in Eternal. While, for example, on Pool Starts here, you can see the return for the past 2 months, and depending on the website you're using, the period considered will be different, even though, of course, the return is always annualized. But this indicator is basically good to compare pools in terms of reliability, to see how reliable they were across the year, and that will reflect a bit on their performance. But this is an indicator that people usually give a lot of importance to, but actually is not the most important, because past performance is no good indicator of future performance. And in stake pools, that's really true. What you stand to receive is going to be significantly different from this number. And what you'll stand to receive from now onwards has more to do with the rest of the metrics and their state, and not so much with this past performance. So it's also very important to note that you'll get a much smaller return because the ADA rewards are decreasing. ADA is similar to halvening of Bitcoin. The rewards are always decreasing and will halven in every 4 years. But the reality is that it happens every epoch. It's much more gradual, but that means your rewards will be decreasing, which is important to note. So you'll earn less than you expect. And as such, please be careful with this metric. Do not expect your future returns for the pool to look like this. There are other factors as well that play a role on these metrics, such as luck in some of the battles, the block battles, and in the blocks they were nominated to mint. So yeah, while this metric is important and gives you a good sense of the reliability and the performance of the pool in the past, it is not everything. You need to take a look at the other indicators to understand how it should perform next. Another important indicator is naturally the fees, because in theory, the lower the fees, the higher the rewards that will go directly to you, and the less rewards will go to the stake pool operator. Of course, it's important to note that you always have a fixed fee, and the minimum right now by the protocol is 170 ADA. And then you have a variable fee that can be of 0, but that is set up by the stake pool operator. However, I think fees are trickier because pools that have more fees also have an incentive to do a better job, to stay on top of things. to have a more secure setup, to make sure they are always meeting blocks regardless of what happens, and maybe they are ready as well and more motivated to update the node to do things better. So like in some cases it actually might be worth to go to a pool with higher fees, because it will be a more professional pool and it will have a better return, and the stake pool operators are incentivized to keep improving and to keep doing better. Then we have your saturation. That is one of the metrics that is really important. It refers to the amount of ADA staked in the pool, and this is a double-edged sword, because you don't want too much saturation, because if saturation goes over 100%, the rewards start decreasing and everyone that is delegated to the pool will actually receive fewer rewards. And as such, you want, just to be safe, you want pools with less than 90% of saturation. However, you also don't want pools with very low saturation with a very small amount of ADA staked, because their returns won't be reliable. In some epochs, they can have some luck and mint a lot of blocks and you get very high rewards, but in other blocks, in other epochs, they won't mint anything and you'll get very small rewards because they won't produce any blocks. So if you want to secure a reliable stake pool with a reliable stream, you need your pool to have at least 2 million of ADA staked to be sure it will mint blocks regularly. However, to be safe, I would choose a pool with at least 5 million ADA delegated to it. And if you want to be even extra safe, maybe just look at pools with more than 10 million ADA staked. While these are probably the most important metrics, maybe it makes sense to take a look as well at delegators. This information is a little bit harder to find sometimes, but you can find it, for example, in Cardano Explorer. And this information can be valuable because basically the higher the number of delegators, the less risk you have delegating to this stake pool, because of probabilities, basically, as it's less likely that a certain whale leaving will highly affect the amount of stake delegated to the pool and will have an impact on the rewards and on its profitability, because you do have a lot of delegators. While, of course, this is not a crucial metric, it can be an important metric for you to, for example, to help you decide between two good pools. If you're kind of undecided, maybe the number of delegators could be a good criteria for added safety, I would say. And of course, as you can see here, the optimal solution is a matter of combining all these variables and to try to optimize as much as possible to as many of these variables. If you don't have much patience, I think your eternal wallet with all this information, you can just check, for example, the first 3 pages and compare it and try to find the best pool. However, if you're serious about maximizing your rewards, then it might be useful for you to use a pool explorer, one of those we mentioned earlier, with a lot of pool statistics and where you can actually filter considering these important variables. So for example, you have your pool tool, and you can of course use this feature here to filter your pools, and you can filter here across many variables, as you can see here, and we can try to maximize a little bit what we want. So for example, let's say we want at least 10 million ADA in the stake pool. We can also define that we want the epoch fee, the total, this is the fixed fee, to be as low at most 250 to have the minimum fee. We can try to decrease the variable fee to 0, and we can come here and try to maximize the pledge. Let's say, I don't know, 1 million. I don't know if there will be a pool with so much. Oh, there will. And for example, here you can see a bunch of pools that you can use that fit this criteria, right? So these pools have all these things and could be very interesting. Also good returns for the last months, and usually putting on lots of blocks. You can see the live stake, but then you can also come here and you can, for example, let's say you want to increase the fees and see what other pools are available. You can change this and you can play with it. You can see the return of these pools and what are they doing, and trying to choose the best pool for you and the best pool, considering its performance. For example, this pool, considering all the blocks they are minting and considering the fees, they are performing really well, so they might be worth the higher fees, or maybe they are not. It's a decision you need to make yourself, but you can play with this and choose the best option. But imagine that you, I don't know, you like the first pools I showed. Let's come back to this. You like these first pools, let's apply. You like, for example, this pool here with these returns. You come here and you can see the pool details and see what they are doing. And of course, you can copy here the pool ID, and you can go to your wallet and paste this ID and find the pool and basically delegate to it. But of course, there might be other things you can consider if you're looking to maximize returns. As we previously mentioned, there are other pools that make it more attractive to stake with them by offering you the chance to earn tokens from other projects and other kind of really interesting benefits. And if you're just looking to maximize your yield and return, if you don't mind taking this extra risk, you can actually, it might be worth for you to take a look at these pools, to take a look at these returns and to consider them, okay? So you actually need to do the math to see how much you're actually paying in fees and you're gaining with your delegation. And then on top of that, add these additional rewards to see if it's better than compared to just a normal ADA pool that performs really well. However, if you're doing that, also bear in mind that some of these deals have a timely nature and as well that you usually need to claim these tokens from the platforms such as drip drops. There are usually some fees and some costs associated, and as such, those should also be considered in the math you're doing to understand whether it's worth it or not. And in fact, I would really love to know, what is your main criteria for picking your current stake pool? What do you think is the most important thing when picking a stake pool? Please just drop it in the comments. And I wanted to also add a very important note about stake pools and staking. Staking is all about decentralizing the blockchain. The more decentralized, the safer it is. And even though it might not be optimal in terms of the financial side, it might be interesting for you, if you believe in this, in decentralization, to consider to delegate to multiple stake pools. And you have several solutions and technologies to help you do that. We have Atrium Labs with their staking baskets that I'm not sure if they're already live, but if not, they are coming soon, where you can delegate up to 50 different stake pools. And you have, for example, Lace Wallet multi-delegation feature that allows you to choose several pools, different pools to stake your ADA and contribute to the decentralization of the blockchain. And even though this might not be optimal, as I mentioned, in terms of rewards, it would be good to decentralize Cardano, and in some ways you're also spreading your risk across different pools, although of course that will mean lower rewards as well. And finally, if you're into Cardano, which you probably are because you're looking to stake here, you should definitely check the amazing work Palmyra is doing. They're a project building on Cardano, a project that is actually bringing real companies, real users to Cardano through ROWAs, and it's taking a very, very different approach from the majority of products in blockchain, and I think is working extremely well. And if you want to know more about that, this video here is perfect for you. I'll see you there.